Are you ready to stop stress, anxiety, and low self-esteem from running your life? Join award-winning author Dr. Friedemann Schaub from Empowerment Radio as he addresses some of the most prevailing challenges in our day-to-day lives. Find out how you can use the power of your mind to overcome self-sabotaging patterns and build a solid foundation of confidence and self-respect. Learn cutting-edge tools and approach every day with great ease, joy, and purpose. This is the time to empower yourself. Now, here's your host, Dr. Friedemann Schaub.
We talked about grieving and animal grief and how animals can also be such a beautiful enrichment in our lives that I do believe sometimes we don't appreciate enough. So anyone who has an animal out there listening to the show, just take a moment to really have gratitude and appreciation for this companion. Animals are, yes, maybe they feel like they want a lot. They bark, they want food, they climb on your lap, but it's so much love and so much healing they give you. My wife was sick for a week now with the flu, and there is this little healer cat that just knows exactly what's going on. As soon as, there is a little sadness or someone doesn't feel good, that cat is there and doesn't move. And we had such a cat when I grew up, or actually later also in life, where my father passed, and he was bedridden for about a month. And there was a cat that laid next to him every day and was just not moving, and unless it had to, but most of the time it just was his companion and was giving him really comfort, because he knew that he will pass. But I think also he was scared at times, and just having this cat by him, and he could reach out his hand and he could touch her fur and pet a little bit, and it just gave him really such a soothing experience. Now, the interesting thing was that the cat, one day before he died, actually left. Almost like, my job is done. Mm-hmm. And that night he died. So it was, for me, a beautiful testimony to how much our animals actually are tuned in with us and how much they are giving to us. So it's not only when we lose them that we should really honor them, but we need to honor them as long as we have them and really be grateful for them. But Judy, what I wanted to ask you is about grief and if it gets easier when you lose animals. And sometimes people say, it was so hard, I cannot do this again. Is that really true, or do we become more skilled in the loss and in the grieving?
I think we become more skilled. And I think that one of the things that I want to talk about is that as humans, we would do well to study how our animals react, how they comfort. That cat comforted your father, and it was an unconditional comfort, and it was also just being there. It didn't have to do anything, just being there. And I think when we look at how you had mentioned how you got a new horse and how the other horses worked him into the group. And if we can model our behavior after the animals, we'll all be so much better off. The grief does get better, but it's always there. And once again, I want to tell your listeners, if you will write to Judy H. Wright at Gmail and put brochure or death of a pet or something in the subject line so I know who it's from, I'll mail you one of these. And this kind of goes into detail on what grief to expect, how long it will last, when to get a new pet, all of the questions that you have. I'd love to share that with your listeners.
And is that a hard copy or is it a PDF that they get?
I could send either one. I'd be more than happy to just put this in a little envelope and send it to them, or I'll send them a PDF. Excellent. I'll do anything that they want, or they can call me and I will work with them as a pet grief coach. It usually takes about 3 sessions. about a week apart to really have someone, me, stand as a witness to their anxiety, to their grief, and to their depression, and help them with tools to certainly not overcome that grief, but to put it into a proper perspective in their life so that they can go on.
And how can they find you? Do you have a website?
I do. It's Judy Helm Wright. Let's see, I think it's judyhelmwright.com or artichokepress.com. I don't know. Look on Facebook, Judy Helm Wright, and ask to be my friend. I'd love to have you be my friends.
Yeah, and once they find you, they can set up a time to talk. And
absolutely. I'd love to help them through this grieving process, because grief is part of life. We live, we die, and life goes on. So, but sometimes we need a little help in that transition.
But that's one thing that I find is so important about also what we just talked about, helping animals. Helping ourselves with the grief of losing an animal. And in general, just facing the grieving process more consciously, that since it is such a normal part of life, it is really good to start acknowledging it, thinking about it, embracing it early on, not just being in denial and feeling like, well, I don't want to think about losing anyone because it's too scary or too hard. Because it's in those moments when we really fall into this abyss of the pain and the anxiety and not knowing what to do. So there isn't really any better time to just prepare yourself of knowing, yes, at some point I will deal with this, and this is right now how I want to really approach the grieving process as the present moment. And I think this is something that we can do with the beloved humans, the beloved animals, even with ourselves. We can even help people that love us dearly to share with them how we want to be grieved of. This is something that I certainly loved what you said about your husband, that you want him not to sit around and bemoan you for too long, but you want him to have another companion, another adventure.
Sure.
And if you never talk about it, then you certainly, let your partner also there in the unknown.
That's right. And you say, as you are anticipatory grief, as you are in anticipatory grief, and knowing, like our Rosie has a gray muzzle and is very, very old, we tell her how much we love her. We tell her what memories we will always have of her, and we just build new memories with her. But we love the idea of having animals in our home. That doesn't mean that Rosie isn't special or Focus isn't special. It just means that we are the type of people who love animals.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your insights and your wisdom on grieving. And I know there is so much more we could talk about. So please send an email and to Judy so that you get this brochure, which I have. It's really wonderful and a great support in that time of loss. Well, thank you, Judy, for being here. And thank you for tuning in and listening. And until next time on Empowerment Radio, goodbye.